Tēnā koutou, tēnā nau mai hoki mai ki tēnei wahanga. Hey folks, it's David Tipoki back. We're going to do a little bit more talking about whakapapa. But as always, first thing we do is start off with a karakia, so we'll ask Dad to do it again.
No reira kai nui te kia koe hua ki apina tia mātou. Ke homai e koe tō wairua tapu ki roto ia mātou. Nā tāngata katoa te au ke kahae ki te wete ngā hara kai roto ia rata. Homai e i hoa tēnei kaha ki a mātou ke kotahi e mātou. Tai atu ki o mātou whenua. Tai atu ngā mea kotoa. Ke hui hui ke kotahi. I mai te ingoa matua.
Amen. Last time we met, we talked a little bit about whakapapa of things, and I used the word things quite reservedly actually, because Māori, just like almost every other indigenous race of the world, regard things as having their own life force or mauri. So rivers have a mauri or spirit or life force, mountains, trees, rocks, everything has got a spark contained within it. And that spark is something that draws us all together. And where whakapapa comes in, like I sort of mentioned before, it's connecting us, not just to each other, but to things. Last time we talked about Whakapunake o te matau a Maui tiki a taranga, te wāhi okioki o ngā tua, which is our sacred mountain back there, just a little bit north of Wairoa. And I will be referring to Whakapunake as we continue on through these series of videos. Everything ties in together. There is another thing I want to start talking about, and that's our waka. The waka that I talk about is called the Takitimu. It was one of those canoes that came across in what was coined the Great Migration. Don't know whether it's a migration, but it was certainly great. Because not just the main wakas, but a lot of them actually went backwards and forwards across the Pacific Ocean. So it was a commuting from one part of the world to another. The Takitimu. When my dad and all my old uncles talked at the waka level, Takitimu was usually first off referred to as Te Pūwhenua. Te Pūwhenua was the tree, or the name of the tree that the Takitimu waka was carved out of, one single tree. It must have been huge, because our kōrero tells us that the Takitimu was a single outrigger. Single outrigger meaning it was a lot faster than the double-hulled canoes that came across from Hawaii. It had about, some say 12, some say 20 different thoughts or sections. According to the Takitimu book, none but selective chiefs were chosen to sail across, paddle across. And it's referred to as Te Wakatapu o Takitimu, which is the very, very sacred canoe. It was a lonely journey for them. There was no cooked food. They weren't allowed to take anything cooked food, lest the sacredness of the canoe was lost. Let's just put it that way. Not only was there no cooked food, there was no women on board. Now, apparently it took around about 2 weeks, or thereabouts, to sail the final leg from Rarotonga to New Zealand. So, you imagine 2 weeks on a single outrigger canoe. All you can see is the back of the fellow's head in front of you as you're paddling away. Raw food to eat. Well, some of it was okay, I suppose, coconuts and bananas, but wouldn't take long for bananas to ripen up, 3 days, and they'd be all gone. So 2 weeks without food, without female company, and you can imagine, I'm sure, what all those men would have felt like when they finally reached, the first port of call was Rongonui, which is up North Auckland, way up 90 Mile Beachway. And it was no wonder that a lot of the crew got off and socialised with the locals at the time. So the Takitimu went from Rongonui around the top part of New Zealand and it came down the east coast. And they must have had previous directions, because had they ever gone the other way down, they would have come down the west coast of New Zealand. And things might have changed a lot as far as our hapu and our iwi were concerned. Imagine all the descendants of the Takitimu living on the west coast of New Zealand rather than the east coast. Anyway, down she sailed. Tauranga was the next port of call, according to the storybooks. And our captain, Tamatea Arikinui, Tamatea, the high priest, got off and he made himself a home there, married the locals. Must have been a beautiful woman for him to get off. Tamatea, Tama, Tama means boy, man, son. Tea means fair. And contrary, I think, to a lot of opinion, Māori went all dark. There's a lot of fair-headed ones. And look at my family, and I'm just thinking just came to mind my brother Rusty. Rusty was fair when he was born, and he had red hair. Now, red hair prevailed throughout the whole Polynesian islands. So Tamatea, he was a fair-headed or fair complexion of a man. Tamatea Arikinui, the high priest, the high chief. He gave a command of the vessel to a fellow named Tahu. And then Tahu brought it around the East Cape, down the East Coast, past Gisborne. At Mahia, they made a stop, and that's where Ruawharo. Ruawharo was the chief priest of the Waka. He got off. He made himself a home there, built a wānanga, or University of Learning. And because the luggage that they brought with them on the Takitimu was all sacred things, Ruawharo formed this whare wānanga, which to some books became the template for the whare wānanga along the east coast anyway. And so on the Takitimu we travelled. It called into Wairoa, believe it or not. Why they went into Wairoa? They didn't know what was in there. Because at the front of the Wairoa River is a bar, a sandbar, and you have to pick the right time in order to go across it to get into the river. It was quite a dangerous feat to perform. But they did it. Up the river they went, a few k's, and they made landfall at a place called Mākeakea. There's a little stream there. Because they had trouble with some of the inventory of the waka. So they had to do some repairs. So they pulled up there, and if or when you go and visit Wairoa, you must go and have a look at the Takitimu marae. It's the biggest one we have. Used to be the biggest in New Zealand. And where the Takitimu marae stands, or is located, is right next to where the Takitimu canoe made a landfall. Takitimu. Being such a sacred canoe, it held its mana its prestige throughout its whole travelling life, as it were. From Wairoa, it went on down to Hawke's Bay, around to Wellington, went down to the South Island, ended up at the bottom of the South Island. Ended up at a place which is now called the Takitimu Mountains, and the story goes it's actually petrified on a papa ledge on those mountains. Now, some local history and some family history here, because there's been a lot of kōrero that was discussed with my father by visitors, and my younger brothers and sisters would recall this vividly, how many a time the old kōreros would turn up at Dad's house, and Marianne in particular, my younger sister, had to make a cup of tea, biscuits, make sure the manuhiri, the visitors, were taken care of. And they'd kōrero, and they'd talk a lot about the old kōrero stories, which I think to them needed to continue to be talked about. Because it's like when you stop talking about something or someone, you notice they slowly but surely disappear from your life. So for them to keep our history alive, they talked and re-talked about a lot of the things that pertain to us. One of them about our Takitimu waka, it will be found again. And this was known by our old kōreros for a long time, but it would be found by a person of a particular family line. And it, in a sense, will be brought back, not so much physically, but at least in the minds of the descendants of the Takitimu canoe, as that bond, that connection, and it's just going to be another form of whakapapa for us. Yeah, you can imagine being such a tapu canoe after it was carved and made seaworthy and tested. They had to bless it properly, say karakia over it, and some of the Cook Island stories say some of these karakias went for days. Ooh, that's a long time just to be praying, and just might sort of tell you the fortitude of the people in those days and how much faith and belief they had in their world. I wonder, do we have that in our world today? Where would we be with that faith? What could we manifest with that faith? What could we overcome with that faith? It's happening a little bit at the moment, I think. So, when I sing your song, this song is actually about Whakapunake. It's not my song. Actually, I don't know who wrote it. Obviously, I'll put the words in the description box. So when you go and give me a thumbs up or like, make a nice comment, and have a look at the words of this song. Now, you do realize that after all these series of videos, the amount of songs that I'm going to be singing for you and putting the words up, I am going to expect you to sing them and learn them and sing them. And if we ever gather together, I'm going to be so excited and looking forward to hearing you all sing these songs. Okay, this one's about Whakapunake. E patukituki ake nei, e taku manawa, Ko te mana motuhake o te iwi o Kahungunu. Titiro ki te whakapunake. Ki te maunga whakarongo i ngā tai. Haere mai ki te maunga rongonui. He okiokitanga mo te iwi. He patukituki ake nei ki taku manawa. Ko te mana motuhake o te iwi o Kahungunu. Titiro ki te whakapunake. Ki te maunga whakarongo hi ngā tai. Haere mai ki te maunga rongonui. Hei okiokitanga mo te iwi. E patukituki ake nei ki taku manawa. Ko te mana motuhake o te iwi o Kahungunu. E patukituki ake nei ki taku manawa. Ko te mana motuhake o te iwi o Kahungunu. Ko te mana motuhake o te iwi o Kahungunu. Ko te mana motuhake o te iwi o Kahungunu. I was cheating, I was reading the words. Right, kapai. Well, like I said, folks, we're going to take a little bit at a time. So please give me a like, a thumbs up on the video. Send me some comments. I don't mind, obviously this is... Anyway, till next time. Noho ora mai. Kia ora tātou katoa. Hiwi.